Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, there are several deserts in South Dallas. Healthcare, food, childcare, and affordable housing. We'll talk to the leader of a nonprofit that's making a difference. His journey just ahead.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, sometimes it takes a first person or company to invest in an area for money to follow money. And to talk about the day, Michael Yorba, he is the CEO and chairman of the Advanced Community Fund. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me, Jeff. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I remember coming to Dallas in 1992, and there was a food desert in South Dallas, and for really generations now, nobody has invested in South Dallas. Tell us about Advanced Community Fund and what you guys do.
Well, thank you. We are an emerging nonprofit. Actually, it's called an emerging CDFI. Our focus is to go into high poverty, high crime rate areas that have lack of needed care processes, whether it's food, or it's medical, or it's housing, or it's childcare, and fix those problems. I've created a template and partnered with the city and several other entities. And what we do is we go into high crime, high poverty rate areas, and we bring in a medical center. Once that medical center is stood up, doctors on the bottom floor, dentists on the top floor. We work with the land bank at the city of Dallas to pick up the vacant lots that have been repossessed because of back taxes around that medical center. We get them at steep discounts, and we pass those discounts on to the Dallas Police Department. They're rookies coming out of the academy or new hires coming in from other defund me cities, and then build them an affordable house, $180,000, $220,000 house. We fill that with high-end furniture, high-end appliances, and then work our way through the rest of the first responders. That's fire, teacher, paramedic. That expands the radius of safety for that medical center. Once those first responders are in the neighborhood, in the surrounding neighborhood, then we'll bring in a grocery store. We're currently talking with Piggly Wiggly. I just thought I'd throw that name out because it creates a feeling of, well, grandma used to take me there, and they're comfortable with it. Then once that is up, then we'll bring in a child care center. So we work in districts 1, 3, 4, 5, 7, and 8. Fair Park and everything south of 30. So it's about a 200 square mile radius that we are affecting. And at last count, it was at least 3 million people, which is roughly 55% of the Dallas landmass.
Wow. You have several deals in the works. I don't know how many you're able to talk about. What are some latest developments?
Sure. Our first medical center was up and funded and running now at approximately 200 patients a month. There was never a medical center there. Our second medical center, the poor person, the doctor has been working on this thing for 5 years, and we got that at this point, looks like completely funded with an equity partner. And then we will build up that template that I just mentioned on that second medical center in Fair Park. It's on MLK Boulevard. It's on our website. You can see it on our projects. We have another one. It is a shelter for survivors of sex trafficking and veterans to build them a place, a rehab, a elder care facility into apartments so that they can then learn how to get into a trade and build that into their own business. Not just go get a job, but build their own small business with that. Then we have a couple of deals in the pipeline that are going to be significant to the city of Dallas. Number one, we have a $87 million project down on Colorado Boulevard that we're looking to complete, 250 units and 70 storefronts on the bottom. And it's phase one of a two-phase project. We'll either put a hotel or a medical center right next to it, or both. But maybe even put the medical center on the bottom floor in part of it, like an urgent care. We've been approached by a group that's got 430 acres at the inland port, which would create an entire community. This community will be live, work, play. So there's industrial, there's commercial, there's affordable housing through multifamily in this different area, and we'll bring in hospitality on that project. And then last but certainly not least, we've been approached by a bank to become number 169, if that's correct. There's only 168 CDFI banks. This bank has a national charter. They'd like to scale us out nationally, but their focus is banking in the Latin community, which for the most part, there really has not been any banks that focus on that. Most banks are focused on whoever the lender or the borrower is on their transactions. They're not actually racially focused to be able to address the biggest issue that we see in our country, and that is our new citizens coming in. Where do they live? How do we get them into their own business? How do we show them how to be financially educated to utilize the services that any bank would provide, let alone being able to apply those to their own businesses and grow them, thereby growing the entire area through tax revenue, more employment, things of that nature. Does that help?
Absolutely. And you were featured a couple of years ago on Fox 4. It was a great piece. Let's go ahead and roll that now.
An effort is getting underway in Dallas aimed at lifting people out of poverty and giving families hope for a brighter future.
The Advanced Community Fund is designed to create more affordable housing and help people train for jobs in their local communities. Dan Godwin takes a look in this week's Fox Forward.
It's great to say hello to Michael Yorba, chairman of the board of the nonprofit Advanced Community Fund, and David Noguera, director of housing and neighborhood revitalization for the city of Dallas. Thank you both for coming in.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. So the Advanced Community Fund, certainly the goals seem tremendous: to help alleviate poverty by investing in businesses, affordable housing, and people. You're targeting areas in southern Dallas. So Michael, how does it work?
We encourage developers to come in and partner with us to invest in new housing in southern Dallas. We encourage private and public entities to come with us and help invest in new businesses or educate these people to an entry-level job of $45,000 a year. And then we also provide credit and loans to people who can buy those houses that we built in those areas.
So a big part of this is to provide job training that will allow individuals to gain the skills and therefore the income they'll need.
Yes, that's exactly right. There are going to be a broad range. We're focusing on technology first, because there is a huge demand for those jobs, but we're not leaving out the trade skills, whether it's a welder or it's a plumber or somebody who really wants to follow that career path.
And David, based on what you're hearing about all this, what are your thoughts about it?
So I think what the Advanced Community Fund is doing is excellent, and I'm hoping that we can identify other private partners to help carry the load, right? We at the City of Dallas have been working in this area as long as our programs have been in existence. But we realize that to really make a dent in the level of need that we have across the city, we're going to need folks like Advanced Community Fund to step up and be successful.
And what we're talking about here is creating incentives for private businesses, private developers, to invest in something that'll really strengthen a portion of the city, a part of the city that really needs it.
Absolutely. Southern Dallas has the greatest opportunities for growth in our city. That's where the available land is. That's where we expect the jobs to be growing.
And Michael, a big part of this is to enable people to work relatively close to where they live. That's important.
It's one of our main points of our mission, is to be able to enrich the environment that they're in now, not disperse it.
So what would be your message to people who are watching, who see this and think, you know, this sounds like something that could benefit me. What would be your message?
I would encourage them to come join us in whatever fashion it is, whether they want to participate as a student, they want to participate in growing their business, they want to participate in donations or public and private partnerships that can grow the community, not disperse it, but enrich the people that are already there.
All right, Michael, David, thank you so much for the chat. For more information about the Advanced Community Fund, we've got a link at our website, fox4news.com/links.
And we've seen this movie before, Michael, where money follows money. I remember nobody was paying any attention to Trinity Groves until Phil Romano did, and now it's blowing up and it's become one of the trendiest spots in Dallas. Are you starting to see some momentum? Is it getting easier to convince banks to lend money and for developers to look at South Dallas?
More developers are looking at South Dallas than ever before. This is the undiscovered country as far as they're concerned. You've seen how the north side has grown. Well, the south side is still left alone the way it's been for well over 50 years. And the hard part about the banks is that they're facing fluctuating interest rates right now, so there needs to be more emphasis on private equity companies coming in to fill that gap. They're able to go into these areas at really reduced prices and affect their will on this real estate and be able to grow that as the economy comes back. Everybody gets worried about what's going to happen next in the financial markets, but the safe haven has always been real estate in your backyard that you can impose your will on. And this is where most people are now starting to wake up, and that's why it is a hotbed of activity right now.
Sure.
Because growing north has gone as far as it really can. Now you're just making it look like Southern California. But growing south is still so many undeveloped areas. The infrastructure isn't even in some of these spots, and it's prime real estate to grow a new city.
We mentioned this earlier in the interview, but I want to go ahead and show some pictures on Facebook. This was one of your first projects. Tell us about this.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that's the urgent care on Marcellus at the Glendale Shopping Center. He had been working on that for about 1.5 years. They gave it to me. I got it in underwriting in 5 days. We got him funded. He is now operating at 200 patients a month, where there was no medical center ever before in that area. So his impact on that community is immense, and it's going to continue to grow.
And I know the banks are getting a lot of pressure to make sure that they're being even-handed when it comes to loans, and diversity is a big thing.
Right. It is a big thing. There is a partner of ours, Texas Brand Bank, that helped us with our first 5 affordable houses. They were in on that loan, and they continue to be a staunch advocate of our brand and our process of bringing prosperity and financial education to South and Southern Dallas.
Awesome. We only have a couple minutes left, so final thoughts. What would you like to leave people with?
Thank you. I need people to step up and participate with us. Partnerships, donations. When you first start out in this field, everybody's promised a lot of things that has not delivered and left some egg on people's face. We actually performed. And we are continuing to grow our network of healthcare, food, fix the food deserts, the housing deserts, and the child care deserts. That's going to be a big one coming up. So we need your donations. We need your partnerships.
Awesome. We're going to end with the website, which is advancedntx.org. Thank you for coming on the show, Michael.
Thank you, Jeff.
That's it for now. We'll see you next time.